We have all kinds of NHL news and rumors to talk about in today's video. We have some trade rumors around a few teams of the New York Rangers, the New Jersey Devils, as well as the Minnesota Wild. We have some big updates from the NHL waiver wire. We had a trade earlier between New Jersey and Ottawa where we're going to discuss. Plus a big update as well out of Edmonton regarding their head coach being extended and how that could impact Connor McDavid's decision. We have some injury updates as well, another fine from player safety, and a few other updates around the league regarding some injuries and PTOs coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have lots to discuss here in today's video. Couple quick items here to start things off. The Florida Panthers forward AJ Greer has been fined for his actions in the Tampa versus Florida shenanigans the other night. That game was just as crazy as Ottawa Montreal this week here. A couple of games that had just a lot of fights, a lot of craziness. Some of it kind of crazy for preseason as well, in my opinion. But those two teams, obviously, in both scenarios, hate each other, and well, that's just what happens. Maybe they shouldn't be playing each other in preseason action. I'm not sure, but he got fined for roughing against Brandon Hagel. I believe Hagel, I know, is now out injured as well. So, not good news. Obviously, that was, like I said, a lot of craziness happening in that game. The fine's only $2,213, which unfortunately is the max with the CBA that they're allowed to do. We also got word today that the Minnesota Wild have released veteran defenseman Jack Johnson from his PTO. And of course, we had a bunch of news from the waiver wire, which was discussed in a prior video, but I'll quickly recap it here. And the first thing was we had 3 claims, including Minnesota, claiming former Wild defenseman Damon Hunt from Columbus. I do think that this is not a coincidence here that Johnson was released and Hunt was picked up here at corresponding moves. So obviously Minnesota felt Johnson didn't make sense for them to sign, you could say, and Hunt's a player they're familiar with who can come in and provide some depth. So made sense for them to make that move. The Florida Panthers today also picked up forward Cole Schwindt, who was on waivers from Vegas, and the Avalanche picked up defenseman Ilya Solovyov from the Calgary Flames. I know a lot of Flames fans were not thrilled with that, given some of the other defensemen they kept on the roster ahead of him. It just didn't really seem to really make a lot of sense, but unfortunately, he's gone to the Avalanche now. New on waivers today include a bunch of names, some of which could be interesting to other teams. We'll see. The Bruins have Patrick Brown, Michael Callahan, Riley Tufte, Georgi Merkulov, and Victor Soderstrom. The Hurricanes have Giovanni Smith. Now, Smith signs a new 1-year, 2-way deal as well with him, which is why he needs waivers today. The Lightning have Brandon Halverson. The Maple Leafs have David Kampf and William Villeneuve. So Kampf, of course, more prominent player here. I don't think he gets picked up mainly because of his contract. He still has enough term and money that teams are going to shy away. But goes to show you that I think they have regrets on not signing. And even though that Scott Lawton, who we found out today, is injured and out week to week, some thought maybe Kampf would have a shot at starting the year as the 4th-line center. Maybe buys him a little bit more time in Toronto and has a chance to kind of redeem himself, play well, and see what happens. But no, they've already made the decision that Kampf is out now. It doesn't have to be that way. They could still choose to keep him. They could choose to recall him if he doesn't picked up. That's all their internal options. So it's not a given he goes to the Marlies and basically rots down there if he's not picked up. Like I said, with the injury to Lawton, it's still possible that they could choose to keep him around. But we'll see. This could also help facilitate a trade. Another team might be more willing to take him if he's already cleared waivers and can go straight to the minors. So we'll see. An interesting scenario to watch. We also had Utah with Matt Velota on waivers and Vancouver with Nils Othmann and Washington, with Sheldon Rempel. So a bunch more names. Some other notable prospect names being cut from their NHL training camps, being sent to the minors. The Ducks, couple of defensemen, Tristan Luneau and Stan Solberg. We've got the Bruins with Fabian Lysell. Again, I do wonder about the future of Lysell. The Rangers cut Gabe Perreault, sent him to the minors along with Brennan Othmann. And Othmann is a player, too, that we do want to talk about a little bit further. I know he was a topic of discussion today on a Rangers-based podcast, and I've seen other outlets kind of bring his name up as well, wondering with this most recent cut, that's a lot of training camps now that he's been to. Was drafted pretty highly, hasn't really got any sustained opportunities at the NHL level with the Blue Shirts. Is it time for a change of scenery, fresh start, time for them to make a trade? It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, he had a good junior career. I think he's definitely deserving of an opportunity, but the Rangers have been in a situation with not being the most patient with a lot of their younger players, mainly because they're trying to win now. It's not like they're going through this rebuild where they could give more ample rope and opportunity here, but there's enough players like Lysell and others around the league that might be looking for the similar type of fresh start. I would not be shocked if we saw the Rangers pull off a trade, moving Othmann maybe for another prospect, give them a fresh start, new scenery, something along those lines. Be interesting to see for sure. We also got word today that the Edmonton Oilers extended head coach Chris Knoblauch. He gets a 3-year contract extension, and I do think this is going to have a notable impact on the decision around McDavid and whether or not he signs here soon. There's some people that think that McDavid will sign before the season starts. We'll see if they're right. I don't have any, firm sources to say that he will or he won't, but just looking at what people are saying out there, and there's a lot of people think between Monday and Tuesday, now that Knoblauch has signed, that he might even sign a matching contract, 3-year deal. I'm hard to say the value of money. I'm going to say it's not going to be as high as some think, probably 15 and a half. I don't know. Either way, I think he wants to give the Oilers flexibility to win too, so we'll have to wait and see where things go. But yeah, I would not be shocked if McDavid does sign next week, but I can't say with any kind of certainty that it's definitely going to happen. Of course, we had a trade earlier tonight as well between the Ottawa Senators and the New Jersey Devils. There is, again, another video on the channel about that trade. If you haven't seen it, I'll do a quick recap, but if you want more in-depth analysis, check out that video once you're done with this one. But I think this trade could be beneficial to both teams. Okay, you get Curtis McDermott with the Devils. He has this year and one more year left on his deal. He's got a salary of $1.15 million, so the deal could be fully buried in the minors if it doesn't work out. He's 31 years of age. He's 6'5", 230 pounds, one of the better fighters in the NHL. Definitely an imposing, intimidating force. He's gone toe-to-toe with Matt Rempe and all the tough guys around the league. So he's a guy that can actually fight, can actually win fights, and that can actually be intimidating. I think after what the Sens have been through in the preseason and knowing that they don't really want Brady Tkachuk having to do that very often, that they need somebody who can not only be willing to do it, but somebody who can actually do a better job at it and maybe win a fight once in a while. Now, Zach McEwen going the other way, making less money than McDermott, league minimum $775. He's in year 3 of 3, so the final year of his contract, 29 years old. Again, a good-sized player, not quite as big as McDermott, a couple inches shorter, but overall probably the more skilled of the two, but doesn't really play enough to really utilize that skill. We did see the odd, big shot or good stick handle that kind of wowed us. And to be honest, I think Zach McEwen has got a lot more skill than he's ever showed. A lot of these players really do. Like, you have to be a bad player in the NHL, you still have to be incredibly talented compared to an average everyday person, right? So McEwen saves the Devils a little bit of cap space. McDermott's a player that I think they felt useful but need the space and obviously didn't use him enough to justify having him there. It's funny how Ottawa just came from Quebec City. McDermott's actually from there, which is kind of funny in a way because things did not go well in Quebec City for them, and then they go and bring in Quebec City native who's actually tough and could be an answer to their needs. Clearly, responding to the Jackeye brothers. I think this is a clear response that they need somebody who can stand up for their players. And he may not play every night. He's going to play probably more in situations, but he can play D, he can play left wing. And overall, he can actually win a fight. And like I said, no offense to Zach McEwen, good player, good dude. No, not a great player, but he just seems like a real good person. Like, he's a Maritimer like myself. I know he works really hard. I kind of feel bad, but he was willing to do a lot. He took a lot of punishment. I don't know that he won a single fight during his whole tenure as a Senator, unfortunately. And they just need somebody who can do a better job at that. And McDermott actually, to me, is probably one of about 5 or 6 guys at most in the league that actually can be intimidating because of the size and the fact that he can fight. So we'll see where everything goes. Probably a trade that may not have a huge impact. Both players could be buried in the minors. Like, it's not a massive deal by any means, but it could have some impact on the Sens' toughness, could have an impact on the Devils' cap space. So we'll see where things go from there. The belief is tonight as well, I haven't seen the team announcement, but we got it on enough authority from NHL reporters that the stalemate between the Predators and Luke Evangelista is coming to an end. He is signing a contract tonight. I've seen reports just in the last couple of hours that from Dave Pagnotta that there was a lot of progress made in the last 24 hours and that they were expecting to come to terms tonight. I've seen Darren Dreger and a few others also on Twitter making mention that they have an agreement in place. It's not announced yet. I believe it to be a 2-year contract, $3 million. So what the heck is Barry Trotz doing as GM of the Predators? Does anybody know? Like, this was a deal that should have been so easy. Looking at the places that project contracts like AFP Analytics, this is kind of right along what they had. Like, I don't get why this was so hard. They made him miss all this time in training camp. He's only going to end up getting a couple of days of camp in before the season starts. One of their few younger players that has a role in this team. I don't get it. To me, this was completely unnecessary and avoidable. And I have a lot of respect for Barry Trotz. He's had a heck of a career as a coach. So far, his time as a general manager has not been good. So hopefully he learns from it. I don't know what to say except that I'm glad that the stalemate's over since it didn't make any sense. Now, another contract to watch coming soon. Hopefully in a few days will be not only McDavid, as I mentioned earlier, but possibly Jack Eichel as well. Of course, the former 1 and 2 picks in the 2015 draft, both looking for new deals and extensions to take their contracts to the next level here. Obviously, with the big increase in cap, even McDavid being the highest, or at the time when he signed his contract, the highest paid player, will likely once again resume that, but not completely with the contract for Kaprizov. Obviously, there's a number of contracts now that have surpassed McDavid, but he doesn't seem like, unless he's willing to go on a longer term, that he's not going to take that title back. But Jack Eichel, according to Chris Johnson of TSN, could be looking at a deal comparable to the Leon Draisaitl contract with Edmonton, so something in that 14 range. It could be a little less, I think, just because Vegas is a no-tax state, so I don't know that he's going to need quite as much to take home the same amount of money. Eichel, to me, could be a low-key MVP candidate this year. He's really grown in his game, and you throw Mitch Marner on the wing with them. Those two I expect to hopefully have good chemistry and will be a dominant factor here for Vegas. We know Vegas and Edmonton don't like each other. Heated rivals for sure, so he's not going to want to be paid less than one of the other top centers on that team that they don't like and love competing against. So we'll see what happens here for Eichel, but there is, I guess, hope that he and Vegas will get a contract done before the first game of their season. Now, also, another one to watch here as well. Elliot Friedman made mention that on his podcast that even though the Kaprizov contract is done now, one GM told him that he wonders if the Minnesota Wild are going to be looking at Artemi Panarin should he not re-sign with the Rangers. Now, we know the Rangers had already approached Panarin about taking a discounted deal to re-up and extend with the Rangers, and he rejected that, wasn't too crazy about it. According to what Elliott's saying, that Bill Guerin not only signed Kaprizov to this monster deal, but also promised him as part of that they would be able to continue to add to make this team better. Now, one common factor besides the fact that they're Russian, that Panarin and Kaprizov both share, is that they have the same agent. Again, not to say that the Rangers would trade Panarin to Minnesota. You never know. I can't say it won't happen, but we're talking more so as a UFA if he makes it there. Elliott wondering if Kaprizov's influence in the Wild might be a potential landing spot for Panarin should he not stay in the Big Apple. But again, that's difficult to say. But the Rangers are going to have to pay him, I think, very, very much appropriately if they want him to extend. New Jersey, also another team to watch here, of course. Chris Johnson talked about the Devils today as well. Made mention, of course, because of the Luke Hughes contract, that they're in a bit of an awkward cap situation, but because of injuries, they don't have to rush and make a quick decision on this. They don't have to make a rash decision. They can take their time with it, see how it goes. You never know what else could happen, which could influence their situation with the cap as well. But obviously at some point this year, they're likely going to need a cap relief type of trade. And no surprise, Chris Johnson makes mention. A lot of people are wondering about the future of former Lightning forward and current Devil Andre Palat and his future with the club, that he very well could be a player they tried to find a way to move on from. That free agent contract hasn't worked out the best. He had a real tough year last year. To be honest, when I was still working on getting the last few ones out here, but on the season preview series here, getting ready for the 25-26 season, when I did the Devils just here in the last few days, I even said, I don't know that I see a regular spot in a lineup for Palat. I mean, with his contract, I can see maybe somebody gets bumped and they put him in there, but I think to me, if they can find a way to move him, that would be great for their situation, not only with the cap, but just it's not working out anyway, so we'll have to see where things go on that front. But as I mentioned, lots of other moves likely coming. I think this is going to be a busy time frame over the next 2, 3, 4 days here as teams try to get ready for the beginning of the season, get their opening night rosters in. I think there's going to be a lot of waiver activity over the weekend. Wouldn't be surprising if we saw some more claims, a few more smaller trades. You never know, we could see a bigger trade, but usually it's more trades that revolve around depth moves and teams trying to fill holes. So it wouldn't be shocking, at least, if we saw some more activity here over the next few days. But definitely, now that Evangelista signed, all the main RFAs are still are taken care of. The one that isn't, though, is Vegas and Alexander Holtz. That's one situation that's worth monitoring here in the coming days as well. But like I said, I think we're going to get some big contract extensions over the next few days with David, Eichel, and a few others, and then potentially some more movement as well. So let me know your thoughts on all of today's news and rumors in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, of course, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with the latest news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.